Bodo Glimt became exactly what the Champions League was afraid of.
Now, Bodo Glimt needed 7 points to make it into the next round.
Crazy.
And they got 7 points. And you're talking about winning against an Atlético Madrid side, winning against a Manchester City side, beating an Inter Milan side at home, and then beating Inter again.
A team with 0 wins from their first 6 group stage games. A team that plays 70 miles inside the Arctic Circle. A team whose entire squad is worth €57 million. For context, that is less than what some clubs spend on a single fullback in a single window. That same team is in the Champions League round of 16, and the Champions League has a serious problem on its hands.
I sent a text to Jan to say Bodo Glimt is the best team in the world, and he sent me a hard back. But it's really what it is. I mean, we're all impressed, but it's not. It's a fairy tale, but it's not a surprise anymore. For me, it's not a surprise after what we've seen, and Craig mentioned the team that they already beat, and we cannot say it's only at home with the AstroTurf. No, it's everywhere. They do the job. They're very well organized. I'm very impressed with that team.
Now, just as crazy as the ending. 6 games into the Champions League, 0 wins. Opta's supercomputer gave Bodo Glimt a 0.3% chance of making the round of 16. Not 3%, not 10%, 0.3%. At that point, the football world had completely moved on. Nobody was covering their games. Nobody was talking about them. They were the team that showed up, collected their participation money, and were expected to go home quietly. And then something changed.
No, they've not got the star quality of some of these other countries and some of these club teams, but they've got a very clear thought process of how they want to go about it.
They beat Manchester City at home on an artificial pitch in the Arctic Circle in front of 8,200 fans. Not 80,000, not 50,000, 8,200. Manchester City, with a squad worth over €1 billion, flew to northern Norway, stood on that plastic pitch and lost. Then Bodo Glimt went to the Metropolitano, Atlético Madrid's home, the stadium where Simeone's teams have built their European reputation over 2 decades. They won there too. 2 wins, just enough to qualify for the knockout playoff round. The draw gave them Inter Milan, last year's beaten Champions League finalists, 3-time European champions, a squad worth €667 million on Transfermarkt. The football world looked at that draw and said exactly the same thing. This is where it ends. This is reality biting. Now let me tell you what actually happened. And let me start with a stat that I think tells the whole story of this tie better than anything else. In the second leg at the San Siro, Inter Milan had 30 shots. That is their highest in a Champions League game ever recorded by Opta. In the first half alone, they had 12 shots with 0 goals, a Champions League record since 2003-04. And here is the thing that nobody is really talking about. Bodo Glimt had just 7 shots all night. But when you look at the expected goals, the gap between those 30 shots and those 7 shots almost completely disappears. Almost identical. 30 shots versus 7 shots. That is a system completely suffocating a €667 million squad.
They had enough of a quality team to get the job done, Inter. I just don't think there's any excuse you can give Inter right now. Maybe you can question again Kivu's team selection in the first.
But before we get into the system, let's walk through what happened on the night, because the match itself is worth telling properly. First leg, Norway, the Aspmyra Stadium, 8,200 seats, an artificial pitch. Bodo Glimt, 3-1 Inter Milan. The reaction across Europe was total disbelief, but the consensus was still the same. Wait for the San Siro. 3-goal leads disappear in this competition all the time. Inter have been here before, and Inter were also motivated by the fact that Lautaro Martinez, their captain, their best player, had picked up a calf injury in Norway and was now a doubt for the return. He did not make it. Inter came to the San Siro without their best player, knowing they needed to overturn a 2-goal deficit to stay in the competition, and they threw everything at it. First half, Inter dominated. Nikita Haikin tipped Federico Di Marco's dipping curling strike over the crossbar. He then instinctively parried Davide Frattesi's goal-bound header from a corner at the near post. Bastoni nodded over. The ball flew at Haikin from every angle. 12 shots, 0 goals. The half ended goalless. 3-1 on aggregate, still needing 2 goals to level it. Then the 58th minute happened. Manuel Akanji, Inter's Swiss international centre-back, loses the ball on the edge of his own area under pressure from Ole Didrik Blomberg. Blomberg picks it up and drives at goal. Sommer saves, but the rebound drops directly to Jens Petter Hauge. He is first to react. He taps it in from close close range, the San Siro goes completely silent. In the corner, 3,000 travelling Bodo Glimt fans in yellow go absolutely berserk. Then the 72nd minute, Hauge plays an incisive pass through on the counter. Håkan Evjen controls it on the burst and strikes a stunning right-footed volley cleanly across Sommer into the far corner. 5-1 on aggregate. Technology confirmed it. It made no difference. Bodo Glimt were in the round of 16, the first Norwegian club to ever progress in a Champions League knockout tie. The San Siro had nothing left to say.
A town of just 54,000 people is absolutely unbelievable, isn't it? I mean, and the thing is as well, you watch the games, you watch some of the extended highlights, they're passing Inter Milan off the pitch in the San Siro.
Yeah, it's an extraordinary story. Just
and beating others as well.
To make it to the qualifier, and they out of their fixtures, they were probably the hardest out of any that anyone had. They played Atlético, Dortmund, Juventus, Monaco, Galatasaray, Spurs, and Slavia Prague at the end. And their rise as well. They won the Norwegian League for the first time in 2020, reached the Conference League quarter-finals in 21-22, Europa League semi-finals last season. This is their debut season in the Champions League proper, and as you say, they're in their off-season. They played the last competitive game domestically at the end of November. They don't play another one until March. It's extraordinary. The wage bill is 50 million. That's, I don't know. I don't know if I'm right, but that's not far off like Erling Haaland, surely. Yeah. Maybe 2 players from Man City would cover that.
Now let's talk about Jens Petter Hauge specifically, because this man is the main character. 6 Champions League goals this season. 6. The most ever by a player representing a Norwegian club in a single Champions League campaign. He is only the 4th Norwegian to reach that number in a single European season, after Erling Haaland, who has done it 6 times, Tore Andre Flo in 1999-2000, and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in 2001-2. That is the company he now belongs to. But his personal story is what makes the goal at the San Siro hit so differently. He had that spell at AC Milan. Bodo Glimt took apart Milan in a 2020 Europa League qualifier. Hauge scored and assisted at this exact ground. Milan paid €5 million for him off the back of that performance, and at Milan, it just never worked out. 24 games across all competitions. He was loaned to Eintracht Frankfurt, then Ghent, then eventually he came home, back to Bodo Glimt, back to the Arctic Circle, back to the 8,200-seat stadium with the artificial pitch, back to the club where his story started. Now he has scored the goal that knocked out AC Milan's City rivals, at the same San Siro where his career once stalled, in front of 75,000 people. That is not just a football moment, that is a film. Now here is the stat that changes everything. Bodo Glimt are the first team from outside Europe's top 5 leagues to win 4 consecutive Champions League games against clubs from those leagues since Ajax in the 1971-72 season. That Ajax side went on to win the trophy. Inter's own Nicolo Barella said it after the full-time whistle, and here is the part that most people are not giving enough credit to, the system that made all of this possible. Because Bodo Glimt are not just a lucky underdog story. What Kjetil Knutsen has built here is one of the most clearly defined tactical identities in European football, and understanding it explains why Manchester City, Atlético Madrid, and Inter Milan all walked into this trap. Knutsen built his system on one philosophy. He has said in press conferences that he tried to mirror Jurgen Klopp's Liverpool: high press, vertical transitions, compact shape, collective intensity. But the way his team executes it is unique. They line up in a 4-3-3, one holding midfielder, Patrick Berg, who acts as the pivot connecting defence and attack, 2 box-to-box 8s, who constantly find the pockets between the opponent's defensive and midfield lines, wingers who invert, and fullbacks who either push into midfield or tuck in to form a back 3, constantly shifting to create numerical advantages. It is a system built on position and rotation, not individual quality. The moment you give the ball away, they suffocate you. The moment you press them, they shift it to the free man. Every player knows exactly what their role is and when to fulfill it. The system is not going to stop working just because people know about it, because knowing about it and stopping it are 2 completely different things. A month ago, Bodo Glimt had a 0.3% chance of being where they are now. 0 wins, 6 games, written off. Then they beat Manchester City, beat Atlético Madrid in Madrid, beat Inter Milan, home and away. The Champions League was supposed to belong to the giants, the clubs with the €667 million squads, and the 75,000-seat stadiums, and the decades of European pedigree. And then, a team team from the Arctic Circle showed up with a €57 million squad, a 4-3-3 built on collective intelligence, an artificial pitch, and a manager who has been building this for 8 years in silence. Bodo Glimt became exactly what the Champions League was afraid of. And if this is only the beginning, the damage they cause across Europe is only just getting started.